Howdy!
Howdy! It has been 3 weeks, 3 very, very, very lonely weeks.
We're awful parents. We abandoned all of our comic church children.
Yeah, so sorry. Mommy's had to go away for a couple weeks to. I know that I wasn't feeling very well these past couple weeks. So glad to be back.
It's crazy because it's like you were sick, 2 weeks ago, and then last week I was sick, and I'm still getting over that. And it's like we transferred our sickness through the internet.
That's honestly what it felt like whenever
through the internet.
I think that I forget if it was the first week or the second week, but I was texting you and I'm like, yo, like last night I woke up with a scratchy throat. Like this morning I can barely talk. And you're like, girl, I was about to text you the same thing. So I'm like, did we somehow across the country
cross-contaminate through our cell phone Tom Taylor's disease over again, where the sickness is going through technology?
Exactly.
But we're back, and I don't know about you, but I'm ready to talk comics. It has been way too long.
Way too long. There's been some really good books. There's been some okay books.
There's been some really crappy books.
There's been some just, meh. But what I'd love to do is say hello, say howdy to some friends that are hanging out in the chat this morning or this afternoon, wherever you might be. Our friend Travis, TM Nerdy, thank you so much for being here. It sounds like you had a chance to talk to them.
I did. I got to hang out with Travis yesterday. We filmed chatting with the comic book community yesterday. It was an absolute blast. It was the first time me and Travis have talked face to face, so it was like really, really exciting. That's going to be premiering, I believe, in January 12th, I believe was the date.
Excellent.
So very, very exciting that, we were able to do that.
That's awesome. So if you haven't already, go and follow TM because they do drop some really fun stuff, a lot of chatting with the comic community and like talking about people's origin story, how they got into comics. So it's been really cool to, I feel like, get to know the community. And they went ahead and posted like a clip of all the ones that they've done this last year. So basically everyone that they've talked to in the community. So that was a really nice recap. So awesome. Appreciated that. Hello to DC Patrol. Station, everybody. We've got another station from Super Stick Boy. Good morning. If you want to be ready for the new issue of Saga on January 26th, read the first 10 issues, then an issue a day will set you up.
Love that. Absolutely love that. It's like a Saga advent calendar, guys.
Ooh. That should be a thing. Skybound, you should get on it. Howdy, friends. Let's go. So John's Comics with Kids says is it just me or the indies been so over the last 2 weeks? Maybe they took a break when you two took your break. Only a couple of indie books I loved while you were gone. Maybe that was it.
Honestly, I noticed that too. I know we'll get more into that when we start deep diving into, each issue, but no, John, I think is right on the money. I was feeling that this morning when I was catching up on some stuff that I feel like indie, I don't know if it's because it's the end of the year and maybe they're kind of, trying to slow down and prepare themselves for 2022. But yeah, definitely felt that this week in particular.
Mm-hmm. I agree. But there were some hits, but then there were certainly, especially when it came to some of the #1 issues that I was kind of pumped for, ended up being just kind of meh. So we'll see. Creating comics while black. Welcome back. Excited for the stream. Thank you. We're excited too. I think that's why we were a little bit late because we had to gossip backstage. Not really.
Oh, what happens when we don't see each other for 3 weeks?
Yeah, really quick. What I do also want to say is that speaking of John, I know you said that you were on Travis's on TM Nerdy's channel, but you're going to be on John's Comic Gories.
I am so excited to be on Comic Gories. You were on Comic Gories earlier in the year, and I just remember watching it and was like, I want to do this. I want to be a part of this. And I was like subtly trying to sneak it to John, like, hey, how can I do this? I want to be a part of this, man, because it's just a fun little game show that he hosts, and I'm finally getting my shot, man. So tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern time, Comic Gories, be there, be square. Listen, John, I'm bringing my A game tomorrow. I know I've been sick the past couple weeks, but I am ready to win Comic Gories tomorrow night.
So the premise of Comic Gories is that there's like a category or phrase something, and you have to pull out of your collection, your personal collection, a comic book that like matches that description, and then the viewers go ahead and vote on whatever cover they think is the best. I was on failed completely. You have 30 seconds, and as someone who just has trouble walking sometimes, 30 seconds killed me. But as it turns out, I'm going to be on Comic Gories again.
What? Are you on it tomorrow? Oh, no. John, listen. John, you're in the chat. You did not tell me I have to go against Jen. This is not fair. Who wants to bet money that at least I'm calling it right now? There's going to be one category that I feel like we're both going to show up with the same comic.
I was thinking
we just have that
thing.
Brain.
Oh. I was thinking the same thing. So spoiler alert, you and I are going to be on Comic Gories with each other. John asked me a couple weeks ago. He was like, hey, I have an open spot on Comic Gories. Do you want to join? And I'm like, you know what? Like, yeah. And he's like, it'll be with Mars. And I'm like, oh, hell yes. And then I'm like, wait, against Mars? I don't know if I can do that. We'll be fighting each other tomorrow on Comic Gory. Surprise!
And now I feel weird because I'm just like, I'm gonna win. I'm bringing my A game, and you're just sitting here the whole time like, this is actually great. This makes me even more excited. It's both the biggest betrayal I've ever had and the most excitement I've ever had. So, John, thank you for masterfully crafting this little setup. Could you imagine if I just didn't know and I just showed up and there you are and I'm like, oh shit.
That's almost how it played out. That's almost how it played out, because John was like, oh, do you want to go ahead and announce it on your show today? And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, or I could keep it a surprise and like we could just wait till Monday. And I was like, nah, I'll go ahead and I'll tell her today. So tomorrow.
I just hope you know, I specifically reorganize the comic cabinet for this very moment, okay?
If it makes you feel any better, I haven't reorganized my comic books since the last time I was on Comic Gory, so
it's gonna be great. So if you want double the Jen and Mars show tomorrow night on John's Comics with Kids, 9 p.m. Eastern time, I'm even more excited now than I was before. That's very exciting.
Okay. Excellent. Okay, so surprise. That's why I was like backstage, just so you know, backstage I was like, Comic Gories? Okay, do you want to announce it at the beginning or the end? Because I just couldn't wait. I couldn't wait to tell you anymore.
I love it.
D-Mets. Oh my God, you're back. Been missing the reviews. Thank you. We've been missing them too. Yeah. Niall, hello everyone. Howdy. Wednesday spoiler, hello. Monsieur Maurice, bonjour.
Bonjour.
Jeezy Treasy one, hello. Audie Rossell, happy Sunday. Our friend Bobby De La Ghetto, hello. Thank you for being here, friend. Comic Toby, I hope we ain't getting lazy. I only hope we ain't getting lazy. Nope.
Never.
Nope.
Trust me, I don't know about you, but it killed me not to be able to do the show. I'm like, I can do it. And you're like, no, you're done. You're done.
Yeah. I was like, because I know that there was like, I think 3 weeks ago we had done the show and I wasn't feeling good. Like I still had some stuff like going on in my throat or something. And I felt miserable like for the rest of the week. So I'm like, nope, don't worry. Take the day. We'll get back to it. Hello, Cerebros, friend Verno. Thank you so much for being here, friend. Manic23, hello, Jen and Mars. Hey, comic folk. Our friend, Azorus Tiger. Hello. Yep, this is the moment I've been waiting for. Yeah. Hi, friends. Glad you're back. We are also glad that we are back. At least one of you is guaranteed to make the finals now. So we'll see.
Yes.
Civil War. Yeah, straight up Civil War. May the best win. It'll probably be Mars. No. Yeah. Julie, Hi, Jen and Mars. So glad to see you beautiful ladies back. Well, we're back, and you can't get rid of us now.
We're back. We're back.
We're back. You know, I'm ready to talk a little bit of news.
Yeah. 3 weeks.
There,
Lots of stuff has happened.
yeah. Tell us what's been on your mind. What have you been seeing?
Oh God, there's so much. So Tom Taylor, who we all love, we all know and love, has probably put out some of the best comics in 2021 than probably any other creator out there. Recently announced that he signed an exclusive contract with DC Comics. So now DC has both Tom King and Tom Taylor under their belt.
The Tom.
They've got the two Toms, and I'm both like excited and also very, very sad and depressed because I love everything Tom Taylor's been doing.
Same.
From Nightwing to Son of Kal-El, to Seven Secrets over at Boom Studios. So I'm really excited to see him take on an exclusive contract with DC Comics. It makes me think that he's going to be tapped to write the mainline Batman title, because it seems like everybody that is exclusive with DC has gone on to write the mainline Batman title.
That's right. And Tiny Onion is no longer doing it.
No longer doing it right now. We have Josh Williamson on, I believe it's a small little run, I believe, while they try to fill the role. So I've got a feeling Tom Taylor's announcement right around the corner. But again, I'm kind of sad because I feel like Tom Taylor really helped fuel my love for Marvel, especially when we look at titles like All New Wolverine.
Laura Kinney Wolverine is...
I would love to see him come back, because he always talks about, you know, how Gabby and Laura are his babies and his children. And, you know, you always see him sneak them into books. Like recently they showed up in Dark Ages, and it makes me sad to think that we're not going to be able to see any more stories from him over on that side, but I'm still ridiculously excited for everything else to come.
Agree. I super excited. Can't wait to see what he's going to do, especially I know that you texted me yesterday about Dark Knights of Steel, which we'll get into a little bit later. So I love that what he's bringing to all of these really great characters that we know and love, and like making them different, but still the characters that we're familiar with. So really excited for that. Marvel's missing out, but DC, you know, you bagged a good one.
Yeah, you really did. You really did.
Yeah.
More recent news, Kickstarter. There's a lot of stuff going on with Kickstarter. So a lot of Kickstarter is used for a lot of comic platforms. You know, you see creators all the time starting and backing their own work. And it's really become, like, it feels like Kickstarter is open for everything. You know, Kickstarter for a lot of things, but it really does focus a lot on the comic industry. And maybe we're in this bubble, but Kickstarter, unfortunately, announced that they are going to cryptocurrency, which we all know it's bad. Crypto's bad. NFT's bad.
Yeah. What I would say is that, you know, just from my perspective, so like maybe a little bit longer, but I think around 20 years ago, there was this big push, especially by like libertarian types who are like, we need to get back to the gold standard. But it's like, ultimately at the end of the day, going back to the gold standard is only going to benefit people with money. Like that's it. That's the only thing it's going to benefit. And now I feel like crypto was meant to be this thing where it's like everyone can get into crypto, but it still really only benefits the people who have the technology and kind of the time to be able to invest in crypto. And obviously,
and it's just bad for the environment.
It's bad for the environment. The computers run so heavy that a lot of these cryptocurrencies use more energy than some small countries use. So crypto is one of those things where I think that it's like promised to us, where it's like the little person can make these insane amounts of money. But to me, it just feels like people being like, we need to get back to the gold standard, which but then, you know, I don't want to be one of those people who are like, the internet is just a fad.
Yeah, it's definitely not that. I mean, there's so many factors that tie into crypto, but you know, with Kickstarter making this announcement, there's a lot of creators that are now, I don't want to say boycott, but that is a very good word for it, boycotting Kickstarter, refusing to back their projects on Kickstarter. A lot of people have been very vocal about it, both on Twitter and just, I believe, contacting Kickstarter directly. And at least the one good thing to come out of it is that Kickstarter is listening. There have been some sources come out from Kickstarter directly that, you know, unlike a lot of other companies, they are taking into consideration how people feel. So it is very possible that, you know, Kickstarter could go back on the crypto business, which I personally would love if they did that, because I've backed projects on Kickstarter.
Yeah.
I know you've backed projects on Kickstarter.
Yeah.
And it really does feel like it would create a hole in the comic community if we were no longer, not saying that we can't use that platform, but if we tried not to, I guess.
Yeah, especially because it feels like Kickstarter was like the good one. Like if something is on Kickstarter, if a comic creator is on Kickstarter, I'm like, oh, okay, like they're some of the better ones. If there is a comic creator who's on, say, Indiegogo, I'm like, I have to think, and I have to like double check, and I'm like, do they have ties to a certain type of group that I just don't mess with? And so hopefully Kickstarter really thinks about it. And I think that I don't know if they're going to, it sounds like they're not going to exclusively use crypto, but they're going to dabble in it a little bit, not necessarily like completely switch to crypto. So I guess you could still use it, but yeah.
Yeah. And then in more recent news, and I talked to you about this backstage. It's just something really, really hard to talk about, but I feel like this individual is so impactful on comics and our lives that we have to talk about it. So George Perez, who is literally like a leading man in this industry, he revolutionized characters like Teen Titans and Wonder Woman. He's one of the few people that managed to do a really great crossover between Marvel and DC. George Perez recently announced that he has I believe it's stage 3 pancreatic cancer, and that he was given 6 months, unfortunately. And it's heartbreaking because, I can't speak on that behalf because, I've only gotten into comics within the past 10 years, but for a lot of people, that's who basically garnered them into this community and who, raised them, for lack of a better word, with the stories and his artwork and things like that. And, he really is, when you think about the big names out there, of course you have Stan Lee and you have Jack Kirby, but I feel like George Perez is right behind the two of them in terms of what he's done.
100%. Like I think that if like maybe even if you think of comic books as like a wave, like I think Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, Ditko, but then I do think about this like next wave, like this next generation of comic creators that came about, and I think about Chris Claremont and George Perez and how they really, like, Stan Lee, Jack Kirby walked so that they could run, so then creators of today could fly. So I think when I first saw the news about George Perez, I immediately, like, I didn't even like really read the headline. I just saw everyone posting about George Perez, and I'm like, fuck, he died. But I'm glad maybe the silver lining is that, we do know that a diagnosis of something like this is pretty severe. Like, it's not like there's going to be a cure that comes up in the next 6 months to a year, but that he does have this next year to spend time, not just with his family, but this like larger comic book family that we're a part of. So I think that he has mentioned, he was going to stop doing some commissions. He's going to refund some people, some things. He's basically kind of like tying up some things. So, think about the creators that you know and love and appreciate, because not going to be here forever.
Absolutely. And at the end of the day, I think we want the best for, George and his family. And I think our heart, goes out to everybody close to him, not even just his friends and family, but even us as fans. It's hard to lose somebody who's that big in our community. So
yeah, it's going to be, I think it's going to be just as big as like when Stan Lee passed away.
It's going to be a big one for sure.
Maybe everyone in the comment drop some of your favorite George Perez moments in comic book history. Would really appreciate to,
your favorite stories. I mean, Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman is like Wonder
Woman wouldn't be the character she is today if it was not for George Perez. So, George, we thank you for that. We really do.
Yeah. Do we have any other news? I know that there's some shows that we've been watching.
Dude, there are shows. I think we've wrapped everything up for news. I'm sorry. There's another. Man, this is why I love you, because you always bring me back. So there was some recent developments about a certain person that I'm not the biggest fan of. And that man goes by the name of DiDio. Dan Stinkio, whatever. I hate Dan. Listen, I think in terms of people I hate in comics, I think it goes Brian Azzarello, Dan DiDio. Mark Millar's all the way down here. Mark Millar's just a fart smeller, so it is what it is. So Dan DiDio, loving legacy, man who said Batwoman who can't get married, is the whole reason the New 52 was the way it was. Grant Morrison came out recently and was talking about how Dan DiDio initially had plans for a Superman. And the Superman and the Authority story that we all know and recently came out by Grant Morrison and was phenomenal.
It was great.
For what it was. It was great. Apparently that story was originally supposed to be an alt-right Superman. And Grant Morrison, who basically learned about this conversations with Dan DiDio, volunteered to basically take it up and was like, you know what? I think you've got a good thing going here. Let me do it. And Grant Morrison basically took on Superman and the Authority so that way we would not have an alt-right Superman, and probably made him one of the most liberal Supermen we've seen since maybe Tom Taylor. Grant Morrison, our hero and savior. And it's not the first time, honestly. It's not the first time that I feel like somebody has volunteered themselves to take on a bad Dan DiDio so that way they can fix it or never sees the light. But this is really the biggest, because making Superman an alt-right hero is about as bad as making Captain America a Nazi. But wait, we already did that. So
we already did that. So Hail Hydra, man.
At least one of them could. But this came out this week, and I was scrolling through Twitter and just reading that, and it was just are you kidding me? Because, this year we mourned the 10-year anniversary of the New 52, and it feels like this year it has just been bad story after bad story coming about that era, and 90% of all the man himself, Dan DiDio. So I'm really thankful Dan DiDio's not with DC. I don't think he's with comics anymore. I don't wish anything bad on the man, but I hope that you're just on a somewhere and you never touch a comic ever again. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, I think that I'm not trying to justify them doing alt-right Superman, but I think that possibly what they were trying to do was Superman Red Sun, we've got a good thing with Superman Red Sun, what can we do that's modern? Or I don't know, that's the only thing that I could even think of.
Superman being bad and Superman being evil at the end of the day is lazy writing. There's one person who was able to do it semi-well, and that was Tom Taylor. And even that, as much as I love Tom, it still kind of rubs me the wrong way. But I understand why people do it, because they think it's fun. They think whatever. But Superman evil in your stories being lazy. Simple as.
Yeah. Yep. 100%. Is that it for the news?
That's it for the news, finally.
Ooh, okay. Well, then I think that it's time to talk TV shows, movies.
It is. There's a big one, Dick. And I've been wanting to talk to you guys about it for 3 weeks? 4 weeks?
3 weeks, yeah. Because we got two episodes the first week, and then,
Listen, y'all, we got Hawkeye, and I'm just going to say it. It's the thing to ever exist. Bias. I've never seen a more letter to a series than Hawkeye. And I watch it with my partner every week, and every week it's I get so excited because it's the first time going into the MCU 90% sure I know most of what they're referencing, and I can get the Easter eggs because Hawkeye is my favorite Marvel comics. I've really been loving it. Love Kate Bishop. Of course, the pizza dog.
Pizza dog. Every time I see pizza dog, I have to yell out on the screen, pizza dog.
I do. A pizza dog. And this last episode, this last episode in conversation between Clint ripped directly from the comics where they talked about Boomerang era and literally had to get out my comic. It was like word for word by line. The roles were reversed, but it was the conversation from the comics. And man, I'm so sad. This is only 6 episodes.
There's only going to be 6
40.
Episodes?
There's only 6 episodes because I would watch 40 of just them bantering and forth. I really it makes me sad. And I'm just, if you have, please read Guy by Matt Action and David Asia. It is the best Marvel comic ever published. There, I said it. Just read the book, man. Read the book.
Yeah. I think that there's a lot more, maybe like not necessarily nuance, but I definitely think that there's maybe the pacing is a little bit different. But if you're like, I really enjoy the show, let me go and read the comics, that would be like the one that I'd be like, you got to start there.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. So Hawkeye, I've been loving it. I want more Hawkeye.
Yep.
What was that? And honestly, Hawkeye, Wilson Fisk, Kingpin, show up. We saw his hand. So that's confirmation enough for me. We saw his hand, we heard his voice, and I was sick all week, so I've been Daredevil on top of it. I want more D'Onofrio as.
And
when you look at the curtain, that is the blueprint.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, you're cutting out a lot. Maybe like 25% of what you're saying is coming through. But I agree. I'm excited to see what they're going to do, not just with like Kingpin, with Daredevil, but I think that Kingpin can tie in so much of this. So I'd really love to see how they do tie all that in together.
It would be great. I'm really excited for it. Give me more Kingpin.
Yep. What other shows or movies have you been watching?
I haven't. I'm gonna be honest. I haven't been watching anything. Except for Daredevil. That's pretty much. I'm re-binging Daredevil. We've been binging the Spider-Man in preparation for home. Saw for the first in my 28 years on this planet, Spider-Man 2. Seen it apparently. And I have a confession to make, y'all. Hold on. It's not as I'll make it out to be. I am so Spider-Man 1 is way better. Spider 3 is better, but it's more fun. At least. And I know that I mean people upset with this end, but listen, y'all have put Spider-Man 2 on this pedestal for years. So like I was expecting this movie, and I'm just like, it was fun. But y'all can't look me in the face and tell me William Dafoe Green Goblin is not the best thing you've ever seen, because
I love William Dafoe.
All that matters.
Yeah. Man, that just, it surprises me because I remember going and seeing those Spider-Man movies in the theater. Like I remember it would be like Friday night and it would be like, oh, all the kids are going to go after school and go watch Spider-Man.
I don't know how I haven't seen it, because I grew up watching the first one. I grew up watching the third one. I remember bits and pieces of 2, but watching it, I was like, I've never seen this. I don't know how, but I've never seen it. So, yeah. And
did you go ahead and just watch it? Is it on Disney Plus, or how were you watching it?
It's on. So all of these Spider-Man movies right now are on Cox. So I know there's people out there that Peacock, but if you are trying to rewatch these before No Week, Peacock is not sponsored. Get your 30-day free trial, binge the Sam Raimi movies, and then, cancel your subscription, I guess. Life hack.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. For more, like and follow and subscribe.
Like, follow, and subscribe for more life hacks.
One of the things, and this is maybe like part of the news, so I have been watching Cowboy Bebop. I've been watching it really slowly, kind of like an episode a week, like as if I couldn't just go ahead and binge it. And probably because of non-fans like you who just did not like Cowboy Bebop whatsoever, I'm really enjoying it, but show got canceled after one season.
Good.
So thanks
Good
for that, Mars.
Saved you. I saved your life.
Nah, I love it.
It's if you haven't watched Cowboy Bebop and you want something,
I love it.
It's not good, man.
I love it. I appreciate I know it could be said that like, yes, it is a pretty big like copy of the animated series, but I love the nods to it. I love the visuals of it. Like, seriously, like I could get lost in the visuals of the Cowboy Bebop show on Netflix.
It's just a lot of my issues with the Cowboy Bebop live action is I feel like it misses the point of the original. It misses a lot of the deeper conversations that we get. And it doesn't have anything to deal with, adapting something from animation to live action. Very hard to do, and there's obviously that you can only see in animation. Yeah. But I think it misses a lot of the conversation.
That, I could see that. I really like it. I get lost in it, and man, and I think the casting is perfect. I don't know the actor's name, but the guy who plays Jet, I'm like, I could watch him in everything. I love him.
Oh, he's great. No, I absolutely do love Jet. He's probably the better part of the whole show. Also, I don't know what is going on with my internet. I have an Ethernet cable plugged in. I'm not sure what is going on, so I do apologize if it continues. I may have to take a brief hiatus, reset completely, and hopefully come back.
If you don't mind me asking, we're going to try to troubleshoot on live right here. When you plug it in on Ethernet, do you have to choose Ethernet on your Wi-Fi, or is it stuck on choosing Wi-Fi? You may have to actually choose Ethernet.
I've turned off my Wi-Fi completely, and I don't think any better. Dang, so if anybody wants to show up to my house and just wreck my internet, that would be greatly appreciated, because my tech support is currently at work.
Okay. Well, we'll go ahead and talk comics. Hopefully the issue just kind of resolves and gets a little bit better. Ahoy to Captain. Thank you so much for being here. What does everyone want us, if we're ready to talk comic books, what does everyone want us to talk about? Do we want to go with DC first? Do we want to go with Marvel first? Do we want to go with indie first? What's up? What's on your hearts? What's on your minds? What's on your butts?
While you're deciding, I might try to do a hard reset. Let me try that. Fingers crossed, everybody, that this works. Be back.
Okay, so we're being told, let's see here. I'll go ahead and say future investment if you don't already have to spend big money by Gwen Stacy first appearance. This one right here. I don't have it graded. I probably should go and get it graded, but I don't think that I'd get a very good, like, 9 point there's kind of a couple little spine tickies here, but would love to go and get that graded. Let's go ahead and see here. Mars should be back in just a few moments. We're being told to choose violence or indies. Okay, indie violence, I think, is what everyone is telling us that we should do. I agree. Image Comics ruled my past 2 weeks. I don't know if a lot of the books, there was a lot of number ones. I don't know if all of them landed, but we'll talk about them soon. So really quick, my stack of indies right here looks like this for the last couple weeks. So this is just indies. Some of them boom. Some of them, let's see here. Seeing some of the image stuff. A couple of Scout books as well. I don't know if anyone else is reading it, but I really enjoyed Dark Blood. We've got issue 5 of 6 that came out. I know that Mars didn't read that. I also picked up this one, Tales from the Dead Astronaut, which is like a little miniseries or anthology told from the point of this like astronaut floating through space. We also got issue 8 of Sleeping Beauties. This is from IDW. Something happens and only women get this disease. Has been a pretty good series. I don't know if Mars got this one. I'll wait for that. I don't know if anyone else got the chance to read this one. I'll do this one. Lunar Ladies number 3. I really loved this series. This was a 3-issue series. I absolutely loved the like retro vibes of the artwork in this one. Really, really fun. Really, really neat. Green Goblin. Yeah, yep. Really, really enjoyed Dark Blood, especially if you had watched Lovecraft Country. I feel like it gave me a lot of Lovecraft Country vibes. Yeah, really, really enjoyed Nita Ha's Nightmare blog. I probably wouldn't have picked it up if I wasn't already just a really big fan of Rodney Barnes and Philadelphia in general. But really, really enjoyed that. Issue 2 came out, so hopefully we'll be seeing issue 3 come out soon. I love that. Let's see here. I want to hear some reading from Mars and Jen. Oh, Mars and Jen. Mars should be back in just a few moments. She had to reset her Wi-Fi. Yeah, Lunar Ladies was really, really good. Thoroughly enjoyed the series from the absolute beginning. Published by Morales. What is his first name? Omar Morales. Really great guy. This series was absolutely fantastic here. So, hello, Super Russ. How's it going today? Okay. Let me see. I'm trying to pick out all the books while Mars is on hiatus for a few moments while she resets her Wi-Fi. I'm trying to pick out all the books that I know that she just doesn't read. Oh, I think she's back. Whee! Okay.
Here's to hoping. Fingers crossed, everybody.
It already seems so much better.
Oh,
like you're not cutting out. Yeah.
Oh, finally. Yay. Sorry about that. Things happen. Welcome to the internet. Damn internet. Yeah. Now I sound like a boomer.
Yeah.
Oh. What did I miss?
Well, people wanted indies. So I just kind of went through some of the indie books that I know that I had read and picked up that you hadn't, that you just don't get. So I went through a couple of those.
Okay. Yeah. Indies. Okay. I have indies here. Is there anything you would like to with?
One of the books that I know that you do, I think you read, House of Slaughter. Did you read that one yet?
No, I did, because I'm trying to catch up to killing the children.
It's so good. It's so delightful. I really love what Tynion is doing. this series just it's so good, and I love that it's a spin-off from Something is Killing the Children, because in this latest arc of Something is Killing the Children, we're getting a lot of the backstory, and I feel like this fits so perfectly with the backstory that we're getting. So really, really thankful for that.
That's really exciting.
One of the other books that I know that you're not reading, and that's okay, I still love you. Dune, House Atreides came out. Issue 12 of House Atreides came out. It was the final of this series. It's been really good. For those of you who know, you know that I'm a really big fan of Dune. Currently, I'm rereading the series, and we're doing a Dune book club over on Comic Chop News. Last night, we actually just went through the second part of Children of Dune, the third book in the series. But anyways, Dune House Atreides basically goes into the backstory, like the events before what we see in the main Dune book. So pretty good. Lots of fun supplemental stuff. Any other books that you picked up?
Oh, many. So this is my indie stack alone of everything that I picked up. So we got we'll do this. We got the finale of Killer Queens.
Yes,
David Brewer. I did not love this. I personally think that this had a very, very strong first issue. The first issue, I was like, this could be one of the books of the year, and I lost a lot of really fun that it had with it, and it turned into this kind of just, normal space romp sci-fi adventure. 4 kind of got a little better with the comedy, but it wasn't enough for me to be like, this was my favorite book of the year.
Yeah.
It did leave us on a not necessarily a cliff, but it that the Queens could return. Stories, which with can't tell, it feels like I was getting a new adventure left and right.
Yeah,
maybe
little side quests.
So that was did you read?
Sorry, you're kind of breaking out a little bit. I heard, do you read? And then,
Did you read Daisy?
I picked that one up. I didn't read it, though. But you can go ahead and spoil it and tell me all about it. It's a 5-issue series. Colin Lorimer, I don't really know. But it's supposed to be Joan of Arc, right?
Is it? It's not the vibe that I read. Better. It's this book to be better.
You wanted this? Sorry, you're cutting out a little bit. I heard you wanted this book to be better.
I wanted this to be better. It just wasn't. It really missed the mark for me in terms of what it could have been. It was really boring. It started to be a weird cult thing, but I have no interest in picking this up as a trade.
Wow. I know sometimes even if it's not like a good first issue, and the artwork inside just, in my opinion, looks incredible. I think that they do a really good job with the artwork. So that's kind of disappointing, but I say that without having actually read it. Do you have like a plot description for it, or like an elevator pitch for this story?
No. Because I don't really know what happened. I guess somebody lost their child. They're trying to find their child. They get involved with this weird biblical cult. There's a really tall lady, and then it just kind of ends.
Oh.
So it was not very good.
The artwork looks good enough where I'm like, I'm still going to try to read it. But we'll see.
It was not very good. Did not have a good time.
That makes me sad.
Did not have
do you read Once and Future?
I do not.
This book is on my pull list. I love it. I love this creative team. Kind of. Kieran Gillen is kind of getting on my freaking nerves. But I love Dan Mora. I love Tamara Bonvillain. Like, just look at these beautiful, I love the artwork so much. But I feel like I'm done with this book. Like, this book is on my pull list, and I'm probably about to take it off because.
Does Once and Future follow the pattern of Kieran Gillen has a really great starting point? Trade 1, probably book of the year, and then it just kind of falls flat.
Kind of. And I think that it's like he plans for book one and maybe like knows where he's going to end the series. But then it gets really popular and then he's told, well, we're going to give you more issues. And then he doesn't know how to wrap it up, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I feel like that's a trend with Kieran Gillian. So hopefully,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I feel like Kieran Gillian should just do limited series, maybe.
Yeah, so I think that David Boer should get the 20 plus series, and Kieran Gillen should get the 4-issue miniseries, because I think that's what Killer Queen suffered from, is that there was kind of enough world building, but not enough.
Mm-hmm.
So, really would have loved to see.
And Kieran Gillian was recently announced that he was taking on X-Men. How do you feel about that?
Not really happy about it, because for that very reason, so many of his books die, Once and Future, Wicked and Divine. I love the first volume, but then I get into the later issues and I'm like, okay, I'm bored.
Yeah, that's typical Kieran Gillian.
Yeah. And, to Azores Tiger's point, I do think that maybe reading the whole trade all at once would be a better experience. But for me, as of right now, reading single issue by single issue, I'm just like, I'm not having a good time.
I'm not having a good time. Did you get a chance to pick up Last Session from Mad Cave Studios?
I did not. Oh, wait. Maybe I did, but I don't think I read it. I don't have it here.
Sad. This is Last Session from Mad Cave Studios. I both cover because I absolutely love that for the variants they've been doing character sheets.
Mm-hmm.
Not only that, but I just love the characters that we're getting from this D&D universe. I best describe this book as Die for all ages. It's like a more fun, less depressing version of Die. So the kids don't necessarily get sucked into the universe, but it's a group of young adults who started playing D&D in high school, and they're meeting again after a couple years, and they're now in college, and they're adults. They but they're still friends, and, just them having fun, going through their own life problems. We get really great representation. There's a non-binary character. There's an asexual character. And I really, really love this from Mad Cave. So if you're a fan of D&D, if you just want to really feel good all ages story, I recommend picking this up. And the artwork is gorgeous. The artwork is absolutely gorgeous. It's by Dozer Draws. And honestly, I'm surprised they haven't been doing more work in comics, because they're absolutely incredible.
Cool. So that'll be, and you said Dozer?
Dozer Draws is literally how they go by. That's how they
are
on comics and everything, is at Dozer Draws, which I think is really cool.
That is cool. I would say to anyone who, if you read Last Session and you like that artwork, follow them, because then they'll probably post like new stuff that they're coming out with. And I find that, of course, more and more lately in my comic book journey, that's been going on for a couple decades now, but I definitely follow creators. So that's usually how I find out about new books, is like
100%
following the creators.
100%. What else did you pick up?
So I did pick up, but I haven't gotten a chance to read the latest issue of Department of Truth. So there's that, but haven't read it yet. So
are we still with Mothman at this point?
Oh, I don't know. Each issue seems to be like a different. Right now, it's like going conspiracy theory by conspiracy theory. Mm-hmm. Like a couple issues ago, we had like Bigfoot. Mm. So I feel like it's going like one by one.
Okay. Very.
Another one that I picked up. I'm really curious to know how you feel if you read this one. Did you pick up Joy Operations?
I did not.
Okay.
How do you feel about it?
You know, at first when I was reading it, I thought that it was Kyle Higgins because it definitely looks very like Power Rangers-y
So
ish.
very Radiant Black.
Radiant Black, but it's actually done by Brian Michael Bendis, and I think that Brian Michael Bendis and Stephen Byrne. So maybe Stephen Byrne does the artwork, but it reminds me of a mashup of maybe like Power Rangers, Radiant Black, but then also I don't know. I don't know if you can see that like splash page. But I really enjoyed it. The main character is kind of fun. A little bit of Seven Secrets E.
Okay.
So I think that you would like this one. I'm really glad to see Brian Michael Bendis back on like an indie book like this, as opposed to just like doing DC.
And it seems like he's taking a lot of the work that he started with Vertigo when he was over with DC, and I believe a lot of it's starting to transfer over to Dark Horse now as its sort of home plate.
Yeah, especially because like we've got Jinx World here, and so done by Dark Horse instead of say Image or anything like that. Because I think Pearl was. I can't remember what Pearl was.
Pearl was like that weird DC Comics Vertigo, but not really Vertigo type of deal.
One of the other books that I read that just continues to be more so beautiful. I think the story gets lost on me, but then I just get lost in the artwork. Have you been picking up Echolands?
I have not. I'm trade waiting that one.
It's just beautiful. It gets like weird and I don't want to say cosmic at some points, but it does get like really weird and just kind of wacky. I love it. I'm at the point though where I feel like the sideways stuff is getting kind of annoying, but I wouldn't have it any other way.
It seems like it's a book that's really made for that, and if you did it in a sort of portrait style book, it wouldn't have the same effect.
Yeah, this one is almost feeling like Decorum to me, where like there's different types of artwork, even though it's the same creative team. I think that this will be a really good trade pickup. This was issue number 4. Issue number 4. So we'll probably see a trade sometime early next year once it gets to like 5 or 6, but pretty solid.
And that's going to be a really interesting, considering how it is formatted as a landscape book, and I don't feel like a lot of books out there that do that. So I'm really looking forward to that. Actual Dracula, what's the furthest place from here? Number 2. Did you get a chance to read it?
I got it. I haven't read it though. But please spoil it for me. Like
I want to say I'm loving this book, but I'm not. I'm enjoying this book.
Wow.
It is one of the first books that I read this week because I really like Matthew Rosenberg and Tyler Boss as a creative duo. I think that they have a chemistry in comics that, is very hard to manufacture. They have a unique sense of storytelling. I love the way that Tyler Boss does his panels and how subtle some of the changes can be. And of course, the comedy between the two. We're starting to get a little bit more backstory in What's the Furthest Place from Here. We're starting to see some more of the families. This is not hooking me the way that Four Kids Walk Into a Bank did.
Did you, if you don't mind me asking, did you read Four Kids Walk Into a Bank as single issues, or did you read that as a trade?
I did read it as single issues. I did.
Okay.
That's one of the few stories that I did read when, early on collecting it. I did stick with the whole way through. And each one of those issues I was able to, I was hooked on and wanted to know what happened next. Whereas this, it's part of me is like, I want to trade weighted, but part of me also just, I love seeing them work so much that, it's one of those where if I see them working together, I'm going to pick it up. So I'm kind of at a crossroads right now, how I feel about What's the Furthest Place from Here. I think it's definitely going to be a slower burn than say Four Kids Walk Into a Bank, but we'll find out.
Okay. Sorry to interrupt the comic book talk, but Luna decided to grace us with his big ass presence.
Of course. Thank you, Luna. Thank you.
He's purring. He's saying hello. He's saying happy Sunday, folks.
Howdy.
Howdy. He can't hear me. He's, for those of you who don't know, he's deaf. He can't hear me making fun of him. But he's a big old boy, and he thinks he's just the smallest, tiniest little lap cat. So,
yeah. Did you get a chance to read Lunar Room from Volt Comics?
You know, I picked it up. That was another one of the books that I picked up and didn't get a chance to read. Tell me, should I have read it? Was it one of the good ones? Was it one of the bad ones?
I hated this. And I feel bad because, again, if you've managed to get this far in terms of creating, writing, publishing a book, I don't want to be mean. Obviously, you're doing something that I can't. But Danny Gaylor, I believe, or Danny Lore. Danny Lore also wrote another comic from Volt, Queen of Bad Dreams, which came out around the starting time of Volt.
Yeah.
And it was another book that I was not a fan of. And at this point,
I thought that I was going to love Queen of Bad Dreams, but there was just something about it that I didn't love. Yeah.
I didn't. Lunar Room feels... Oh, man, I feel so bad. But I have to be honest. It feels very amateurish. I love the artwork. First of all, I was going to say
the artwork is pretty good.
Artwork is gorgeous. I love the character designs. The art is stunning. The writing is terrible. The story is terrible. It's supposed to be this, woman who was a werewolf and is no longer a werewolf. Was a mob boss, but is no longer a mob boss, and it doesn't fit. It doesn't flow. You have these really awkward chapter sections in a single issue that just don't make any sense. Why are you doing chapters in a book? And that's actually the page that you got on, where you have one where it's two panels. 2 panels is your chapter, and then it goes to another chapter, and it doesn't make any sense. This book, I wanted it to work because the concept is cool. It doesn't work. It was so bad, and there's no backstory to the character, and it's probably one of the worst things I've ever read by Volt. It's definitely one of the worst things I've read this year. And I don't like being cruel to anybody's work because art is subjective, but I was really looking forward to this, and it was not good.
That's disappointing.
Very disappointing. Very. I think my heart breaks more when it's a book that I'm looking forward to and it doesn't hit the mark than just a book that I pick up because I'm like, oh, okay, and it is bad. So
we were rooting for you.
I was rooting for you, Lunar Room. I'm so sorry. So
so going to the next book. Did you happen to pick up there's a book that came out? Let me preface this with, I don't know anything about Buffy. Like, I know she's a vampire slayer and that's about it. And I know that this book is like old lady Buffy.
I think that's cool. I also don't know anything about Buffy. I've never watched Buffy, so that's why I've never picked up Buffy comics. Yeah. I did see in all of like the solicitations and the advertisements for this book that it was old lady Buffy, and I'm like, yo, that's interesting. I'm interested. Did you read it? How did you feel about it? Not knowing anything about Buffy.
It was all right. It was interesting enough. I think that the artwork is absolutely stunning. But I feel like I would get more out of it if I knew more about the characters, or maybe even like some of the mythology of the world. Mm-hmm. But without being a fan, I'm just not a fan of Buffy. Like I never got into it, so I feel like something is lost on me.
Yeah, and I feel like you do miss that kind of, not third wall, but you miss that underlayer of references, Easter eggs, maybe backstory when you aren't a fan of the universe or have never seen it. So that's the only reason why I haven't picked up Buffy.
I'm also not a big fan of Joss Whedon, and so I try not to pick up like anything that he is attached to. The author, I don't know if they're local here to Portland, but on Friday they were at my shop. I didn't get a chance to go because I was working, but they did get to go. They were at my shop and they were doing like signings and stuff like that. Joss Whedon's name, I don't think that he has anything to do with this book other than like Buffy, created by Joss Whedon, because that was like very, very like small on the interior. So I don't think that he was involved whatsoever. So I felt okay picking this up.
That's Boom, isn't it?
Yes.
Speaking of Boom, did you get a chance to pick up Buckhead from Boombox?
I did.
Boombox.
Didn't get a chance to read it though. Doing that a lot these weeks.
I feel like I can't be too harsh on this. This is definitely geared towards a younger audience. I personally, I feel like this issue was very, very slow. It started to really build up towards the end of the issue, and I like the idea that it's like kids possibly going into a video game where his father is trapped and maybe he has to rescue his father. But there was way too much build up in terms of, oh, it's a new kid and he's at a new school and now he's meeting these new people and he's kind of the black sheep of the school. I think especially if this is geared towards a younger audience, the younger audience is going to get bored very, very quickly, especially if I at 28 got bored very, very quickly. I will say I do love the artwork. I think the artwork is really, really interesting. It had a when I was like reading it this morning, I'm like, it kind of feels like Spider-Verse, maybe mixed with like the Gorillas. And that artwork, it was really cool to see how like different the main characters were from maybe say the background. So that I will say that is one of the things that are really cool about Buckhead. I would say if you have younger readers, maybe they would enjoy it. We've seen other Boombox stories from Boom, like Last Witch, which I loved, and that was aimed at a younger audience, and this one just didn't quite hit that mark. Felt like this week with Lunar Room, Buckhead, and Daisy, it was a very rough week. Very rough week.
You know, I feel like Boombox has also been putting out a lot of series and single issues that I'm like, just give me the trade.
Yeah.
I mean, I really enjoyed Mamo and I picked it up issue by issue. But I do think that it would have been better as like a smaller trade. So maybe that's like when this one comes out in trade, it'll be a much better read. And like you said, for a little bit of a younger audience as well.
And part of me, like, you know, when you say that, you know, just give me the trade, especially if these are geared at a younger audience, how often is a younger audience picking up a single issue? I'm thinking maybe they should take a page from DC's book and do those original graphic novels that are aimed at an all ages group. I think it would be really, really great to see those.
Agreed. This one is a little bit of a did you end up picking up Animal Castle?
I did. I was hoping that you picked this one up because I know that you told me you hadn't picked it up the week it came out. This is a pretty hot book right now. There's a lot of talk around this book. I have conflicting feelings about this book.
Ooh.
I love the way, so the opening of this book, I was sucked in. I was drawn in. I was like, shit's going down. I was like, they're killing this chicken. What is going on? And then it starts to slow, and I got a little bored.
And and I would say it does get very panel heavy. It does get very wordy. I was thinking that you would not like it because of that.
And that's where I started to, like, you know, get a little bored with it. But then you get towards the ending and stuff's starting to pop off again. And, you know, they say that this is like a retelling of Animal Farm. As somebody who has not read Animal Farm, I can't really say if it's accurate or not. I personally just really love stories where animals are given, I don't want to call it sentience, but
anthropomorphized.
I really like, I'm not going to try to say that because that's a big word for me today. But when we think about books like Stray Dogs, when we think about Animosity, I really like seeing animals have human emotions and going through human stuff, for lack of a better word. So I think that's why I was really drawn to this book. I don't know if I'm going to continue to pick it up single issue through single issue, but it's definitely one of those books where as it comes out in trade, it might be one of one of those sleeper hits, especially because it's
Yeah.
from a Blaze of all publishers. Like, when is the last time that we talked about a comic from a Blaze on this channel?
And liked it. Because I know that there's maybe been some books by a Blaze that I was just like, I picked it up because it was in issue 1. I liked it, and it reminded me of some of the best parts of Fable and We
Okay.
3 by Grant Morrison.
Mm-hmm.
So I really did enjoy it. I don't know why there's much buzz, because I can't see this being adapted necessarily, because it is all done from the point of view from the animals, so that might be hard to adapt. But I've also heard a lot of buzz about this one too.
It's a good book. I would say if you see it in your local shop, if your local shop still has copies and you haven't picked it up,
Yeah.
I would definitely recommend picking it up and reading it, because it was one of those that I did not expect. I didn't even have this on my pull list, and it was on the wall, and I was like, what is this? It slipped my radar. And even the artwork on the inside, I really like some of the art and the way it's done. So definitely one of those unexpected titles from us this week.
Yeah, for sure. One of the other ones that I feel like I did enjoy this one, but I don't know if I'm going to pick up the next issue. Speaking of like animals. Did you pick up Good Boy? Okay.
I was hoping that you picked it up. This was a Kickstarter. From my
I didn't know
understanding,
that.
I've seen a lot of people on Instagram posting like Kickstarter bundles that they've recently gotten. I had no idea that it was kickstarted. For those of you that don't know, Good Boy is it's what if the dog died, or what if the human died in John Wick, not the dog, and the dog wanted revenge. I really liked this. I had a lot of fun with this, you know. And again, it's that whole animals getting human emotions, and this one's weird because it's like, I don't know how to explain it. It's just,
I think it's very gruesome and kind of violent, but it's very fun.
That's the best way to put it. Is it's like I had fun with it. I remember the week that this came out, because this came out 3 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
It was my favorite book of the week. It was my favorite thing that I had read, and I'm just like, I'm having fun. It's pulpy, it's gritty, it's, I don't want to call it stupid. Maybe silly's the right word for it. It's silly. It's just, it's fun.
It does also remind me a little bit of that book Cinnamon that came out, that it was told from the point of view from the cat. So that was a really fun book, even though that one was not like violent necessarily, maybe not as violent as this one. But I don't know if I'll pick up the next issue.
Good. Part of me wants to, but part of me is like, just trade weight it. Because I believe that this is also only 3 issues, like Cinnamon. So I don't know. If I see it, maybe I'll pick it up. I might not special order it, but I will say definitely one of the better things that Source Point Press has put out. It's no Bride of Dracula. We'll say that. Or
Cold of Dracula.
It's no Cold of Dracula. That's for sure. Every time I say that, you just flashbacks.
Most disappointing book of the year. Maybe, I don't know. You Promised Me Darkness is given a run for its money.
They're right up there.
I've got 3 more books.
I have 1 more, so if you want to go, I have one final one.
Okay. So the 2 books I have, both Image, 2 Moons, number 7. I'm really enjoying this series. However, so this is issue number 7 in the series. So I'll just give like a brief description, but it's basically this man in the Civil War. He is indigenous, and he has like shamanistic type powers, and there are people after him. I feel like this arc of the series is going a little bit more into detail into the Irish woman. Mm-hmm. I feel like her story, like we do get to see a little bit more of her. It's really fun. I don't know what issue the series is going to end at, but I'm probably going to wait till the end of this arc and then take it off my pull list if it does go for a 3rd arc. But it's still a really good book, and I hope people at least pick up the first trade. So
yeah, I remember reading the first issue when it came out, and it was one of those ones that I was like really surprised about, and I really enjoyed the first issue, but it was definitely a trade weight for me. But it is it's going to be another sleeper title, I think, from Image in particular. It's going to be one that not a lot of people talk about. Deserves way more than it gets.
Oh, 100%. So sorry, this little cat just had to like dig his head into my lap. He's the best. So the other book that I have here, like I said, it's another Image crossover. I feel like this is a good series, but after that Chip Zdarsky issue, like
that Chip issue, oh man,
it's yeah.
I just wish the whole series was as meta as that particular issue.
I agree. I'm also trying to figure out, no one else is really talking about this, and I feel like this is talking, I don't know, I could be wrong. Is it? I feel like this might be, I feel like this is Alan Moore at the end. Spoiler alert, everyone. But I can't tell if anyone else has read, or is this supposed to be Donny Cates? I don't know, man. But it looks like Alan Moore to me. But anyways, I feel like it's getting to a low point. What is this, issue number 10? So we'll probably get another 1 or 2 issues by the end of the arc. We'll see if it keeps on my pull list.
Mm-hmm.
Last one. I didn't read this one. But I love this person's artwork.
Yeah, I didn't read that. That was the other one where it's like it got buried under stuff, and I looked at it today and I was like, oh, I forgot to read Girl Scouts.
But I feel like this could be a really quick read. Maybe, I don't know. You get pages like this that are just kind of insane. Cool. But I really loved Girl Scouts Magic Socks that came out like a couple years ago. So really hoping that I dig into this soon. Mm-hmm. Did you have another book other than this one?
I do. So the last indie book that I have is the finale of The Me You Love in the Dark.
I missed that one. I don't know how I didn't get that one.
This solidifies this book for me as being either book of the year or damn near close. Because there was a lot of really good stuff. It's definitely my favorite indie book, I think, that came out this year. Definitely one of my favorite Image books. It started off as just being this beautiful romantic story and caught us completely off guard last year with becoming a metaphor for abusive relationships and toxicity. And I was both worried and curious as to how it was going to wrap up with issue 5. And as somebody who has been in a situation very similar, I think it did it in the best way that it could have. So I love this book. I will recommend this book to everybody. It's definitely going to be one of those books that I find myself rereading over and over. As soon as the trade comes out, I want the trade. I love The Me You Love in the Dark. It's one of my favorites right now.
For some reason, I knew that issue came out last week, right? Or was that one this week?
And then it was last week, I believe.
And I'm like, how did I end up missing this? And then I went to the shop this week and completely forgot to like think about grabbing it. So I'm going to go out later today and see if I can maybe find issue 5.
Very, very good. I know I was saying that I wanted like 20 issues of this, but
yeah, it ended good.
The way it ended, it's very cathartic. I will say that.
Ooh, very nice. Well, if that's it for Marvel, or did you say you have another book or no?
That's all I have for indie.
Okay.
I have some Marvel stuff. I have some DC stuff. Oh no, I lied. I have one more indie book. Hold on. He's buried here. Did you pick up Tales of Mother F Goose?
I did not.
Do not do it. Don't pick it up.
Okay, good to know.
I am fucking so disappointed with this book. This is right up there.
Who published that?
This is Aftershock. This is one of their oversized one-shots that they do. I was really fucking excited for this book. Excuse my language, but I was really excited for this book. It's Frank Thierry. I love Frank Thierry. He does some bonkers work. And the way that this book was solicited was, this is the book that will ruin your childhood. Because it's the fairy tales as you don't expect them. I thought we were going to get like the actual fairy tales, like Shrek, but like rated R Shrek. Like,
ooh, See,
That's
like, that sells me.
That's the way that I was like sold. I was like, it's gonna be Shrek, but rated R Shrek. It's literally just a like average mob boss book
Oh.
with the names of some of these characters. So you have like the three blind mice. You have like Little Miss Crumpet is like your detective. It was not. I was lied. I was lied to. I thought it was going to be a fun fairy tale, sick, dark comedy, and it was just a average crime book. And the internet has been raving about this book, and I'm like, why?
Oh,
How?
no.
It's don't buy it. Save yourself the trouble and the $6, and don't get Tales of Mother F Goose, because this is false advertisement right here.
I feel like if I did pick it up, that would be the cover that I would pick up because I love that homage to Pulp Fiction.
It's false advertisement, y'all. But that's all I have for indie.
Okay. So I know that I have some DC, I've got some Marvel. What do you want to start with? Oh, and I want to say thank you to Travis for the super chat. Really appreciate it. You are worth it, my friend.
You are. Do you wanna dig into Marvel? I have more than one Marvel book this week for once in my life.
Yeah, let me see. I've got a lot of these books I may just end up being like, I bought it, I didn't read it though. I was a really bad comic book reader or non-reader these last
What did you buy? Let's start off with that. What did you buy and did not read?
Okay. Okay, so I read. Haven't read Marauders yet.
Okay.
Sorry.
Since you're on the topic of Marauders, while you're digging through your stack, I just need everybody to know, because everybody accuses me that I'm a fake X-Men fan. I don't like the X-Men.
You're not an X-Men fan though, so you can't be a fake one.
But what a fake X-Men fan buy comic books just for the cover and spend $5 and $6 on books just for the cover because they love Emma Frost and because they love Madeline Pryor. Because listen, if I didn't love the X-Men in any sort of fashion, I wouldn't be throwing money away on just pretty women.
Those are some beautiful covers, by the way.
They're so pretty. I would like this Emma Frost in particular to just crush me in between her thighs. That's all I'm gonna say. Please crush me, Miss Emma. Thank you.
On that topic, there is something to be discussed a little bit later today, and I'll show that to you. So some of the books that I did get, so Doctor Strange, Death of Doctor Strange, White Fox. I did get it just for the Peach Momoko cover. Did also get the A cover, but didn't read it yet. Excuse me. Hold on. Give me 1 second. Sorry, I had to sneeze. Didn't want to sneeze in everyone's ear. Also got Death of Doctor Strange, Spider-Man. Sometimes I pre-order these books. I just get really heavy on pre-ordering them, and I'm like, I didn't read them. Also, I flipped through Hulk, but maybe because it's been like 3 weeks and I just didn't read it.
And that's the number one, right?
The new run by Donny Cates. Yep. Let's see here. Star Wars, Life Day. I have no clue. I just saw Chewbacca on the cover and I'm like, I like Chewbacca.
So you have no idea what Life Day is?
No.
It's better left unsaid then.
Oh, what is Life Day?
It's a Wookiee holiday. It's kind of like their Christmas, for lack of a better word. It's something that was created in like the 80s and along with the Christmas special. So I'm very surprised.
Christ.
I'm very surprised that Marvel allowed this to see the light of day. I'm not gonna lie.
Wow. Okay. So all I need to know is the Christmas special, and I'm already triggered.
The Christmas special.
So we'll see. Let's see what else I've got here. I did also pick up X-Force #1. It is done by Rob Liefeld, so yeah.
Oh no.
I think this ended up being one I saw X-Men and I'm like, oh, let me just pre-order it. And then I got it and then I'm just like, why the fuck did I pre-order this? So that'll probably go in the didn't read but won't.
Didn't read but won't pile.
Let's also see here. Haven't read The Death of Doctor Strange.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Doom is on that cover. Let's see here. This one came out this week, and I haven't had a chance to read it. Marvel Voices Comunidades.
Mm-hmm.
Comunidades. I'm butchering that word. But I was hoping that it was going to be in Spanish, but I think it just features Hispanic members of the
And
community,
Latino
Latinx.
voices.
Let's see what else. I did get this Star Wars Crimson Reign. So it's supposed to be the Crimson Dawn people.
It's another event, it feels like, and I'm just so tired. I'm exhausted. Please stop. I actually read Darth Vader this week because I thought that, fun fact, I read Darth Vader this week because I thought that we were out of the, bounty hunter saga, and I was reintroduced with yet another event, and it just I'm tired. I miss Darth Vader when it was just Darth Vader going through his emotions, being a little sad boy.
Being a sad gamer boy.
Being a sad gamer boy, and I don't know, man. I need that back. I need it back.
Oh, geez. Some of the other books that I got, I did get this. I've been kind of digging this Amazing Fantasy because it's like a what if Frank Frazetta Marvel. So I didn't read this one, but it's Captain America Iron Man. I heard that it was not that good.
These are just Marvel titles that I didn't even realize existed because I'm in my little bubble.
Let's see. I did not read Venom issue 2. You said you did or did not?
I didn't, and I wanted to. I made a mental note to read Venom, and I didn't pick it up. I didn't get a chance to read it digitally, and it's a shame because Venom was one of those ones where it's like the more and more I thought about it, the more and more I really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah. Especially because from what I understand, Al Ewing and Rom V are like co-writing it, and they like co-wrote issue 1, and then Rom V is doing issues like 2, 3, 4, and then Al Ewing is going to pick back up on issue 5, 6. So we'll see. Haven't read issue 2 yet. I also didn't read this one, but I heard that it was really good. So this is going to go to the top of the I need to read it pile. But Black Panther. I hear that Black Panther is the bad guy.
That's weird. Yeah. Question mark.
Yeah. And the artwork just looks really, really good. So that's going to go to the top of the pile. So other than that, I mean, I've got a couple other books that I read here. I'll do this because I know that I don't think you read this one. Dark Hawk. Issue number 4. I'm really digging it just because I know this is stupid, but one of my favorite things about it is that there is an interview in the back of each book where Kyle Higgins interviews someone with MS in the back of each book. And that's kind of a big plot point in this is the character's MS diagnosis. So what Marvel books do you have that you read?
Well, there was kind of a big one a couple weeks ago. And
I know which one you're going to pull.
Like the crazy person I am. I picked up 4 different covers, as somebody who's trying to save money because they're trying to move and trying to cut back. I bought 4 covers. It's fine. I love Kate Bishop.
I think I picked up 2.
I love Kate Bishop. I love Hawkeye. That being said, I did not love this issue as much as I wanted to.
I'm so glad you said that because this book came out 3 weeks ago, and I felt like maybe I was missing something.
It felt very, I don't know, because for me, Kelly Thompson wrote one of the best Kate Bishop stories. If you haven't read Hawkeye by Kelly Thompson, please do immediately because it's fantastic, and she really does give the voice to the character. This, I feel like some of the spunk was lost. It was a little boring for a Kate Bishop book, Kate.
Yes.
When I think Kate Bishop, I think, okay, we're off the rails. We're going, 0 to 100. We're gonna have a lot of fun. And this was very just. She's going more into her PI detective work, which Kelly Thompson introduced to us in that series. But it leans a little too far into the PI detective work, almost like an Alias type book, and I don't know.
And it goes she goes back to her family, and I felt like it wasn't fun.
It wasn't fun. It was not fun. That being said, I am picking up issue 2 with the hopes that it'll get a little bit better. If get better by issue, I may have to the book.
Yeah.
It just makes me sad because it's like I got into all these Marvel characters, and now that a lot of these Marvel characters are getting series of their own, and I'm excited to pick them up and I want to read them. It feels like some of them have been lackluster. We saw that with Moon Knight. We saw that with Kate Bishop, Hawkeye, and just, am I the curse? Did I curse Marvel?
Am I the baddie?
Am I the baddie? But also Sheena's here, and that's all that matters.
Sheena's here. That's all that matters now.
Other Marvel books. Did you read Inferno?
Yes.
Please explain to me Inferno, because I don't know what the hell's happening.
I don't, girl.
I don't know what's happening. I really like, there's one scene where it's Emma, Mystique, and Destiny talking. The most interesting part of the whole thing, and then I was like, what is going on?
Yeah. Honestly, I have no clue. There's a lot of deception that's going on, and we are going a little bit. I think some of the reason why this book is calling back to some of the characters from the Ten of Swords, as well as House of X, Powers of X. So, yes, if you had read House of X, Powers of X, but I do think that I liked a lot of the conversations. I did like to see the cuckoos coming, and
I love the cuckoos. I really liked that conversation. There was a conversation that was had with the cuckoos, where Destiny, is like, 2 of you will find love, 3 of you will not, 1 of you will die, 1 of you will do this, and they ask, well, which one? And they're like, well, you don't even know which one you are. I just know that it happens, and I really like that. And I'm like, oh, I personally, when this book was announced, and when we were hyping it up and talking about it, I just wanted to see Destiny and Mystique burn everything to the ground. I wanted to see a rampage, and we're not getting a rampage. It's more of like a Game of Thrones Cersei Lannister type rampage, where it's behind the scenes,
because they're planting what's going on the Quiet Council, and so there's a lot of political stuff going on. But I really just want to see. I mean, maybe that'll happen issue 4, because this is supposed to be a 4-issue miniseries, and then it's done. But maybe some of the news we missed earlier in the show is that X-Men is. Did we talk about this? X-Men is getting rebooted once again. I don't know how I feel about this.
Is it getting rebooted? I didn't take it as a reboot. I took it as an expansion. I think, because I feel like they're not getting rid of Krakoa.
Well, maybe not rebooted. I don't think that they're going to get rid of Krakoa anytime soon, unless Krakoa just burns to the ground for some reason. But I don't think that they'll do that. But there's some titles that are going forward and some that aren't. And it sounds like Kieran Gillen. I do believe I saw that Cy Spurrier is going to be on one of. I don't know which one that they'll be on.
Steve Orlando. I think some of them are. I don't believe that we've seen who is on what title yet. I believe that we've gotten little maybe hints and teases. It's going to be a lot. It's going to be big. I don't know how I feel about it, but we'll see. We'll see.
We'll see.
I'm slowly getting into X-Men, so we'll see. Speaking of X-Men, Trial of Magneto for 4. A lot of feelings about this issue. Again, I appreciate with every issue. Why is it called Trial of Magneto? Magneto has nothing to do with anything. It needs to be called the Resurrection, Rebirth, whatever of Scarlet Witch. It needs to be a Scarlet Witch book. That being said,
do you think that they did this because the popularity of Scarlet Witch from WandaVision, and then trying to, I feel like this is easily, you could just have read House of M and then read this. You don't need to read 100%. You don't need to read all the X-Men stuff. Maybe it would help, but I feel
as somebody who has only read House of M and hasn't read all the other X-Men stuff, I agree to that completely. In this particular issue, we get a bigger focus on Wanda. The first page in particular, I read it and I'm like, oh no, what is this? What is this bonkers ass shit? But then when you read it, I'm like, this. I don't know how to explain it. I felt at peace. I don't know, when I read it, and it felt like an ode to Wanda, like a really weird poem about Wanda, and I really enjoyed that.
And there's this beautiful moment. Okay, sorry. Folks, hold on. Hand that to me. My news group I literally just got breaking news.
Breaking news.
No, for real though. Breaking news. Anne Rice passed away at age 80.
Yep, there was word of that this morning.
This is breaking news to me. Literally,
news.
my partner just came up and like, this is their phone. They're like,
breaking news. Yes, Anne Rice did pass away this morning from complications of a stroke. It was announced this morning. And Anne Rice did so much for the horror community and just queer subtext and everything.
Queer
like that.
Subtext. Well, I mean, I would say that if you like the queer subtext of any of the vampire books that she's done, read Blood and Gold, because it goes into Marius and how just queer he is throughout history. So that's my favorite of those books. So sorry to interrupt, but breaking news. Anne Rice passed away.
Breaking news. We're talking about Wanda and this beautiful moment. Is it the moment when it's the three Wandas together and they're talking about, the healing and accepting and forgiving?
It's just
I'm right on.
I need this as a print.
I agree. This feels like I don't want to say it's trying to reboot Wanda, but they're definitely trying to fix, I think, a lot of stuff. And I love that this is, a story where Wanda can forgive herself, because we kind of saw that with the Scarlet Witch run by Scott Robinson. But I feel like this is going more in depth to it. The one issue that I have with this series, or maybe it's this particular issue, is I wish that, and maybe this is just me because I connect with Wanda and I'm very, very protective of Wanda. I wish some of the characters were more sympathetic towards her. Like, there's a scene and I believe it's on the same page, there's a scene where it's, her son yelling at her and, being like, this is your fault because you refuse to do this, you refuse to do that. And as a character that, we see is, it hasn't been confirmed, but it's been alluded that she's got mental illness. She might be bipolar. She might have this or that. As someone who experiences very similar feelings and emotions, you can't really judge somebody until you go through those feelings. So to have somebody like her child or her family that is yelling at her instead of being more understanding and being like, how can I help? I'm like, boy, if you don't sit back down.
Yeah. At the same time, though, I would also say that because there's like this conversation with like her and her relationship with Magneto, and it's like, I feel like there's some forgiveness there. There's some reconciliation there. I also feel like when it comes to people in your life who are toxic, people in your life who are bad for your mental health, and who have done things that just are not good for you. Like, even if they're family, even if they're blood, you can cut people off. And as 100% someone, like, DM me and we can talk about it. I'll talk about it more. But like, as someone who has like personally cut off family members, like, you can do it. And you are 100% allowed to cut off toxic people in your life. You have permission from Mama Jennifer. Cut off toxic people.
Absolutely. And Trial of Magneto number 4 ends with the cliffhanger of, I know who attacked me. I know who did this to me.
And it just cuts there.
It just cuts there because we've got one final issue. So here's our final thoughts. Who do you think attacked her? I know I'm
Emma.
90% sure I know who it is.
I want to say Emma.
I don't think so.
Who do you think it is?
I think it was Quicksilver.
Ooh, okay.
Out.
Yeah,
because he was very aggressive in the first issue. I believe he showed up in issue 2. We haven't seen him since. He kind of just disappeared.
Yeah.
So I feel like he's realizing, it's like as soon as Wanda showed up, he was gone.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's because he knows that Wanda knows, and Wanda's going to tell everybody, and now he's trying to either cover his tracks or get away as quickly as possible. But Quicksilver being, I don't want to say he was a major part of the first issue, but it's something that I remember where he was outwardly upset and he was frustrated and annoyed. And the more and more I think about it, I'm like, were you putting on an act?
And he was definitely framing Magneto, right?
He was definitely, I don't know if he was framing Magneto, but he was getting angry with Magneto. And considering what I know from previous stories with, you know, the Scarlet Witch run by Scott Robinson, which I will continue to reference until the end of time.
Yeah.
There is a whole issue dedicated to Wanda and Pietro arguing with each other, and Wanda basically telling Pietro, you can't control me anymore. You can't do this. Get out of my life. And I'm not wondering if with his mental state, because I don't think he's there all the way.
Yeah, that's
maybe
true.
He got angry and maybe he decided that, you know, if I can't control you and I can't manipulate you the way that I want, then I'm just going to hurt you the only way that I can. So I am really excited to see who is the culprit.
Who done it?
I don't think it was Magneto. I really don't think it was Magneto. I think Magneto is being framed. But I'm excited to see who it's going to be.
Ooh. One more month, right?
One more month.
Or a couple more weeks. Did you happen to read X-Men issue number 5?
I did not, but I picked up the cover.
Okay. I feel like I'm digging this book, but I also feel like, I don't know, after seeing that, like, I thought that maybe it was going to get rebooted, I feel like I went into this issue just being like, man.
Yeah, because you were really disappointed when the first issue came out. You were like, I wanted to love it, but I didn't.
Yeah. I mean, it's very heavy with Polaris, and I like her as a character, and there's some really great moments between her and Jean. So it's still a pretty good book, but I don't know. I'm just still gonna read it just to read it. So
you're still gonna read it because it's X-Men. I've
only got.
Did you read any other?
Yeah,
I have nothing for Marvel. I am all Marveled out, friends.
Okay, well, the two, I'll go ahead and mention this. So we got the last issue of Daredevil before we go into Devil's Reign. I think it's pretty interesting. However, Devil's Reign, I picked up this beautiful Peach Momoko cover. It did not have enough Elektra as Daredevil in it for me. Like, really? I don't remember there being any Elektra in this book. It's more about like Fisk and like taking over the city. It's
now
good,
you have my interest.
Oh, I was going to say it was okay, but it didn't blow me away.
As somebody who is now part of the Wilson Fisk fan club and is obsessing over Wilson Fisk, you have my interest.
The last one that I have here is Fantastic Four Life Story. I really enjoyed it, especially because, spoiler alert, we get to see a lot more Galactus. Like, Galactus has been kind of teased from the beginning, and there's just so many really cool moments on here of Galactus. So I think that there's one more issue, maybe more, because they're going to go into the 10s. So I think there's one more issue, so this should be the penultimate.
Do you think, so we've seen Spider-Man Life Story, we've seen Fantastic Four Life Story, what do you think of like an X-Men Life Story?
I would love to see X-Men Life Story. However, I think that would be really, really hard to do, considering that, like, Spider-Man, one character, Fantastic Four, same group of 4 or 5 people.
Characters.
I would really love to see a Black Widow life story.
Ooh, that could be it.
I think that they would probably, just based on they would probably do like an Iron Man life story next or something like that. I wouldn't mind seeing an X-Men life story, but do it like the original cast. So like if we got Angel, Beast, Marvel Girl, Iceman, and who am I forgetting? Cyclops, but fuck Cyclops. So I think that if we did that like original like X-Men life story and did just that original group, I think that would be kind of fun.
Could work. Could. That's everything you had for Marvel? Question mark.
And now it's DC.
Now it's DC. There's one book in particular that I know we both really, really want to talk about, but I think we should save that book for last.
I want to save that one for the end because it was.
Save that one for the end because there's a lot to unpack with that one. I have a lot. So, you know, I really want to talk about this. I fucking love this book. Dark Knights of Steel number 2. Number 2.
Yeah.
I went into this book. I'm having fun. It's a really fun venting, you know, seeing characters in this like high fantasy medieval setting. I'm having fun. We get to see production of new characters. We get to see like hints. I really like that Tom Taylor has been like pushing the airy into every comic that he writes. It's like, that's my baby. I'm gonna everything. So there's a little panel of the airy. We finally get to see what's up with Wonder Woman and Lois Lane and Supergirl. And y'all, I'm just, you know, Tom Taylor did them gay. He made gay. Listen, so you know, we ended issue 1 with the death of Jor-El, and you know, Batman sad, Superman sad. So Supergirl has been off training with Wonder Woman or Little Woman in Themyscira, and Lois basically the bearer of bad news, and is like, you know, your father, your uncle, because they haven't really said if it's her dad. It's very possible that they could just your dad. Has passed. When Lois Lane showed up on, I'm like, yes, perfect spot for Lois Lane. I'm here thinking in my head, Tom Taylor made Lois Lane a gay. Age turn and Supergirl and Wonder Woman, and I'm like, wait a second. It's not what I asked for, but I'll take it.
Yeah,
and it's exciting. And Tom Taylor at this point is the biggest ally in comics I have ever seen in my entire life, because every single book he's writing right now, they're gay. And Tom Taylor, like, I love it. So that's not the only reason why I love the book. I actually did legitimately enjoy Dark Knights of Steel. I think it's like really interesting. This is a book where I want to see offs of it, and I think I said that was an issue. Like to see like a little spin-off, the Suicide Squad in Dark Knights of Steel, or you know, the Bat Family Steel.
What if we saw like Suicide Squad, but it was just like it's a wandering group of bards, and it's just Suicide Squad bards, suicide bards.
I'll take it. I mean, we got to see Amanda Waller as captain of the guard. Yeah. And I'm just like, this is one of those books that for me, it's just really fun because every issue, it seems like we're being introduced to new characters. And it's always like, where is this going to be? And what is their role in this universe? And that's half of the fun, I think, with Dark Knights of Steel, on top of it just being a gorgeous book and a fun book and really entertaining. If you're not picking this one up, please just do it. You don't really even need any, you don't need to know any of the DC comic characters. You can go into it just having a fun time. I think that if you do know these characters, you kind of get an extra layer.
You're going to have a fun time like spotting them and being like, oh, this is the like medieval version of that character.
You're super in medieval time. It's fun. One of my favorite books on my pull list. I loved it.
One of the other DC books that came out this week, I'm really curious to know if you ended up picking it up. Did you end up picking up World of Krypton?
I did not.
Okay. So it's like the world of Krypton. I don't know how else to, so I guess it's basically like an origin story.
That's the name of the comic.
That's the name of the comic book, folks. So I was really surprised by how much I really enjoy this. I've been kind of enjoying Supergirl to a point. The artwork, though, it feels like there are two different artists on it, but it's Michael Avon Wemming. And so there's moments that look really like cartoonish like this.
Ooh.
But then there's moments in the beginning where like this is the artwork and it reminds me of like She-Ra.
Yeah, okay. I did not expect from this book.
So I think that it was action packed is how I would call this. I think that there was enough world building, but I wouldn't mind a little bit more. So anyways, I really enjoyed it. It's a limited series, so it's only going to be 6 issues. So if you didn't pick the first issue up, then you know, in probably about 7 to 8 months, we'll see a trade. maybe more like 9 or 10. We'll see a trade sometime next year.
Human Target #2 came out this week. I don't have a physical copy. I read that one digital because my shop was out. But Human Target #2, it continues to just be really, really just, it's the prettiest book on the market right now. Greg Smallwood is just ridiculously talented. This detective noir that's just set in the DC universe. So, you know, this man, he was impersonating Lex Luthor to kind of act as like a bodyguard. He then gets in and he now has 6 days to live and find it out. Who did this to him and the cure stuff. What Human Target #2 really special for me is it focuses on ice. And, you know, and as we all know, I am like the super fan of Fire and Ice, and we kind of get a inventing of Ice's origin story, which I thought was really, really interesting. Because Ice in the normal comics, she's like Atlantic princess, happens to have these powers, and she acts as a diplomat for the world, and it's all outlandish, for a better word. It seemed a little outlandish, but Tom King reinvented it and was like, no, she just happened to be this girl with powers that lived in this country, and her grades basically threw the cold, and so she did this story to make herself have more self-worth, for lack of a better word.
So just like boasting herself up,
basically, and it was really, really interesting to me. But what really sold me on this issue is they are claiming that Fire is the one that is trying to kill Lex Luthor, and the reason that Fire is trying to kill Lex Luthor is because Lex Luthor had killed Ice, and now is out for revenge because she. And listen.
Sorry, you cut out a little bit. You are frozen.
Am I back?
Your audio is back. Your video is not.
Oh no! Give me 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Am I coming back?
A little bit, yeah.
No.
I can hear you.
Okay. Well, you just need to hear me, so it's fine. So Tom King, buddy, pal, friend of a friend. I know you're listening to this. Them get. I won't even coward because I love you too much to call you a coward. But Tom King, please, with all my soul, my heart, my soul, please confirm Fire and Ice as girlfriends, because look at them. They're just the gayest people in the world. And if you don't make them gay, I will cry. So,
Tom Taylor, you need to convince Tom King to do the right thing.
Do the thing, buddy.
Yeah.
I want it. Life itself. So.
One of the next books that I have on my list, also done by Tom Taylor, did you pick up any annuals by any chance?
Oh my god, what the fuck was it with DC and being like, we're gonna fucking throw 3 annuals in a row and break your wallet fucking 6 a piece.
Yeah.
All right. One of these was very good. One of these was okay. I don't want to say okay. It was good. And the other one was just a waste of money. Play your guessing games now on which one is which. I'm gonna come out and say it. I fucking hate that they are stupid. There are very that I enjoy. Up my head is that Judd Winnick wrote where it confirms that Todd was Hush in the Hush story. That's it. It's the only one I can think of that's actually good.
Yeah.
An annual is supposed to, for lack of a better word, like an oversized one.
Yeah.
but it feels.
Oh, you cut out a little bit. I can't hear you at all.
Oh, annuals. Can you hear me over annuals?
I can hear you now. Yeah.
Okay. It feels like most of the time with annuals, they feel like an oversized dud that just is a waste
Yeah.
of money.
I think because like it just ends up cutting into the story and it's not linear.
Jarring.
Yeah.
It's very jarring. That I know you
I can't hear you.
read this.
I can't.
Did you?
Which one? I don't know what it is.
Oh
Nightwing?
no,
Got it. Okay, I
Nightwing.
see it here. Nightwing. Yes.
This is the blueprint for what an annual should be. This is the blueprint right here. Okay. You took a character and gave it enhanced background.
Yeah.
Their relationships with another character. It was basically like a. Jason Todd is framed for murder, and Dick Grayson believes that it's not him, even though it's caught on videotape. And I really like this because there's like a bit of backstory into their relationship. And I feel like the relationship between and Jason explained enough, explored enough, rather. I think, because at the end of the day, they're. I don't want to say they're brothers because this book confirmed that they're gay. Without confirming that they're gay, this book confirmed that they're gay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Tom Taylor. It's fine. I really liked it because John's Comics with Kids put out a really, really good TikTok, as the kids do.
TikTok.
Talking about why this Daniel was so good. And he brought up a good point where he said Dick Grayson does what Bruce Wayne can't, and that
Yes.
having relationships with the other members is a bad thing. To that, I agree completely. He's the blueprint of what a good hero should be, of what a good sidekick should be. So if you are a fan of Nightwing and Red Hood, or a fan of either, read this book. I would honestly put this annual on like a Jason Todd recommended reading list.
Ooh, okay.
That's how good it was. That's how
I appreciate that. I'm not like, big Jason Todd fan or like, anything like that, but one of the annuals that I did pick up that I did enjoy was the Superman annual. My favorite part about this though is there's like an internet joke, a Twitter internet like inside joke with
I was hoping
Gail
you
Simone.
would bring this up. Yes.
Where I forget what happens, but like Gail Simone tweeted something like Gail Simone might be a polar bear or something to that effect, and that's just peak Gail Simone Twitter humor.
Something about bears. Something about bears.
And so in this, we've got Superman. John Kent goes to the Fortress of Solitude and brings this polar bear there and names the polar bear Gale. It's so stupid and funny, and it
was one of those when I read it, I was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
It was one of those moments. It was great. Yep. I loved it.
So I think that 100% like that should be what an annual does, is just steps outside of the story that they're currently in and can just have fun, right?
Mm-hmm. And I feel like the Superman, like I said, the Superman annual, I feel like is that middle. I like seeing the dynamic between John and Lex Luthor. I like how this book is very, very modern without being cringy. Like there's a part in the book where Lex Luthor has built this big old building and he's casting a shadow over the Daily Planet. So John challenges him to a chess match and it's like, hey, if I win, you have to take down your building, or you have to take down the sign. And John wins, and he literally picks up the L and is like, hold this L for me. And it was funny without being
Yeah.
cringy, and I really appreciate that about this annual. The only thing that doesn't make me love it the way that I love the Nightwing one is there is like a to be continued at the
Oh,
end, and I'm
got
like,
it.
an annual should really be
Like a one shot.
self-contained, and I feel
Unless it's
like
going to be in the next annual next
unless
year.
it's going to be in the next annual, in which case are we going to remember that far? But, the only thing about that I didn't love about the annual, if we talk about waste of money, the Robin annual, which was just backstories, all of the fighters that we've seen are, it does give me that. Why am I Hawk? I'm having today. Connor Hawk is from the, I don't want to say the original universe, but in the way that Superman came over from, Prime Earth, it makes me believe that Connor was picked up and brought into Prime Earth. Hoping at the same time I'm also like, what is going on? Because Robin number 9 also came out within our Robin number 8, and it finalized the arc, and spoiler alert, they kill Connor Hawk. So I'm like, what is going on? I need explanations. I'm not loving the series as much as I did, and honestly, if Connor wasn't in it, I probably wouldn't be reading it. Let's be honest.
That surprises me. This next one was not an annual. However, it was an anniversary special, and I feel like this one is probably one of my favorite like types of these things. Did you happen to get the Gotham City Villains?
I did not.
This was incredible.
Was it?
Like some of the, because it's like, like anthology, so there's multiple stories in it, and there's obviously multiple creative teams. Especially when I think about the Green Arrow one that recently came out, and what are some of the other ones?
We had a Wonder Woman, Green Lantern,
Yeah.
Batman, you name it, they were getting specials.
So I feel like the only reason why I picked this up is because Danny DeVito writes a Penguin story, and there's
I love that. Can we just take a pause on that? I love that Danny DeVito. Like, do you think Danny DeVito secretly is like just this huge Penguin fan now? And is
I
like,
hope so.
He calls up Warner Brothers like, listen, I need y'all to do me a favor.
Yeah.
I need y'all to let me write a Penguin story. That almost made me pick it up.
So I think that like I said, the creative teams in this, like all of the artwork and everything is just absolutely fantastic. They also show some like covers or one like splash pages. I really liked this. I would say if you get a chance, pick it up, because I think that you would really like these stories a lot.
Mm-hmm. I've been hearing good things about it. A lot of people really, really like that, and they're saying like what you're saying, where it's a special, but it's a good special. It's not just like a money grab. So that's good to know.
Yeah. Thank you for the Comic Gories plug, Travis. I've got a couple more books here. One of the books, I'll just go ahead and do this. Catwoman Fear State. I think this is the last Fear State for Catwoman. I've been liking it, but it's definitely become a lot more of a Poison Ivy story, which fantastic, more so than Catwoman. And I love Rom V, so try to pick up anything of his. I did pick up issue number 3 of The Order of the World, Arkham City, but for some reason I didn't get issue number 2, so I was like, I'm gonna pick that up later. I know you don't read Swamp Thing because you don't love me.
It's not that I don't love you. I just budget cuts. We're gonna talk about the budget cuts. Budget cuts.
So this was supposed to be, this is issue 10. It was supposed to be the last issue. However, because it's become so gosh darn popular, there's going to be 6 more 6 more issues in it, which I'm really glad, because in the first issue of this arc, they introduced a character. I forget what their name was. I want to say it's like White Walker, whatever the dude's name was. And I feel like they didn't really get to a resolution. They kind of did in this one, but so anyways, I just want Ron V to write Swamp Thing for a very long time until Rodney Barnes gets a chance to write Swamp Thing.
Hashtag Rodney Barnes for Swamp Thing.
Rodney Barnes for Swamp Thing.
Wonder Girl number 5. Did you get a chance? I know you got a chance because I popped in on your Comic Talk Live a couple weeks ago.
You did.
And I quickly popped out because I hadn't had a chance to read it.
What are your thoughts?
I liked this issue more than I have previous issues. I feel like we're starting where, I guess, love for Yara, you know, she's very spunk, very attitude-y.
Yeah. We get to see her personality more in this. Like in the first 4 issues, it's not even necessarily that she was trying to find who she was. It's just she didn't have the same personality as the character that she did in the Future State.
She just kind of felt there. You know, for lack of, she felt there. There was setup, and it was such a slow burn. Whereas in this one, we get to see her basically turn against the gods. And, you know, of the past couple issues, the gods have been sort of grooming her. I hate that word, but they've been grooming her basically to become their champion for whatever reason, which I think will tie more into, I believe it's Trial of the Amp, which is coming up. And she just is like, no, I'm not going to do this. You're not right. I'm going to be my own person. And we're getting to see her spunk. And that's what it really, that's what Yara is to me. It's just spunk.
Yeah.
And I love her for that.
And then I guess the previous issue, we do get to see Jerry the horse, but then he really shows up in this issue, right? Or was this, this is the first time we've seen Jerry since Future State? Jerry
showed up last issue. We got the origin of Jerry with issue 4. Jerry does pop up more in issue 5. So more Jerry, please. More Jerry.
Can we get a Jerry one-shot written by Tom Taylor?
Hear me out. That's your one. You want to write an annual for Wonder Girl? Make it a Jerry one-shot.
Just a Jerry one-shot.
Jerry one-shot. Do you have any other than our last book? Do you have any other DC books?
Yes, I've got one.
Yeah.
I almost did not pick this one up. But I'm glad I did, because it's so weird and so bizarre, and I can have a really fun time. It's Soul Plumber, and basically like this born-again Christian dude sees this like TV evangelist and is like, I'm a born-again Christian. I want to help save souls. And so like he wants to get this device, but then has to like buy it because, you know, as all religions kind of do, is they want you to buy stuff. This book is just so weird, and it is really fun, and I find it poking fun at a lot of the things that like bother me about organized religion, and it's really weird, and the artwork is just it's fun.
So anyways, little book.
It's a quirky little book, and yeah, I like it. But there's one book that I was sad that we weren't going to do a show last week.
Me too.
Or the week before, because this was easily like one of my favorite DC books that I've ever read in my life.
We finally got Wonder Woman Historia, guys. It finally happened. This book has been 4 years in progress. You know, I remember when this was first announced and just being completely in awe and being excited. And then there was radio silence for, it felt like a couple years, and it was like, did it silently get canceled? And DC
and then it was like,
say anything?
I kept hearing that it got pushed back. Like this book was supposed to come out earlier in the year, and then didn't. Yeah.
It was originally supposed to come out around April, then it was supposed to come out in October, and then November, and then we finally got it, and it's all that matters. It's here. It's in our hands. If you have not picked this book up, immediately run to your comic shop and get it.
I know Books with Pictures, my local shop here in Portland, Oregon, did have several copies left. So please reach out to them if you don't have a copy of this, because, and I'm just going to say it, like, if this book wasn't the first issue coming out in December, this would easily be my book of the year. So this might just be book of the year for 2022.
No, I disagree with you on that. It's only one issue. Book of the year is many good books, and I already back in my head the year is for different, but this is basically book of the year, even though it's only one issue. Because here's the thing with Wonder Woman. Yes, it is a continuation, and it has a to be continued book 2 coming spring 2022. Even if this was all that I got, if this was the only Wonder Woman, this is all Wonder Woman Historia was.
Yeah.
It'd be amazing. I don't need a continuation. Would I like a continuation? Am I going to read the continuation? Absolutely. But if this gave me, I would still be using it, I think, the way that I want to. So Wonder Woman is basically a retelling, reimagining of the Amazons, of the gods and goddesses as we know it. Not even necessarily Wonder Woman, because we don't see, we do, but we don't.
Like a little bit, yeah.
We do, but we don't see anyone in this. Even then, I was so excited for this book, and I wanted to love this book. I was nervous into it because I know how Goblin brain works. I know how I intimidated very easily by books like this, and I was like, fuck, I want to love this book, but I know somewhere in my soul I'm not going to. And it was the complete opposite. It was like, once I started reading it, I could not stop. I don't even know where to begin with Wonder Woman Historia, because it was just so inventive. There's so much put into this that you could probably talk about this book for 10 hours and you wouldn't scratch the surface of it.
There's so much, you can tell, like, so much research was put into this, and I feel like, I mean, this is me just kind of speculating here, how much conversation was happening between Kelly Sue DeConnick and Phil Jimenez, because this book feels like poetry to me. And I know I mentioned it a couple weeks ago on the Comic Talk live show, but this literally feels like Kelly Sue DeConnick is reading me a bedtime story. Like, all of her books really remind me of that. Like, whenever I read Pretty Deadly, I'm like, I'm being read a bedtime story. And this one feels like this reimagining of the Greek gods in like a mature way that is not watered down. And seriously, even though it's busy and there's so much going on, like,
it is a very busy book.
I get lost in this book in such a good way.
This book took, that's because Phil Jimenez literally put blood, tears, and probably a into every single page. It's ridiculous. So this is gonna sound really fucking weird. Just hear me out. But the conversation that Kelly Sue DeConnick has about women and womanhood, and I'll get more into that and what I mean by that. This is what I wanted Bitch Planet to be.
Oh.
I know that sounds really weird because you're like, Marge,
it does, because Bitch Planet's like one of my favorites. Yeah.
But Bitch conversation about women not be your standard women, and what is it, a woman and womanhood, you know, and this elevated that. So Wonder Woman Historia, because I feel like I want to detail it. We're introduced to our pantheon of goddesses. So Hestia, Artemis, Demeter, Hecate, Aphrodite, and Athena, and of course Hera. And first of all, the redesigns that Phil Jimenez put into these, and not even just designs, but also the from these. I love the idea. It's just floating ahead, wisdom, and they don't feel. I know they're not human, but they're not human. They almost feel robotic in a way, but organic at the same time. You have these goddesses that basically come to Hera and are like, listen, women for years have faced, and I love this. I love this page. Every page is great.
Yeah, every page is just
every page. You know, women go through they're expected to be wives, and they're expected to do this. They face
even
death,
as these powerful goddesses.
they face death, they face trauma, they face this and that, and women just need to. Women deserve so much more than everything that they've ever received and everything that they will receive, and we basically need to see a change in this. So the goddesses decide, we're going to go to Zeus, and we're going to go to Zeus, and we're going to go to the gods' pantheon and be like, yo, what the fuck is going on? We need change. We need respect.
And what do you
Change it.
all think that Zeus does?
Well, Zeus is a prick, and he basically gets Apollo and all these other people to be like, no, whatever. You have what you have. It's good enough. You're a woman. What can you do? And Hera basically, I don't want to say sides with them, but Hera is basically like, take me out of it.
Yeah.
I'm his wife. I have to, I can't go against my husband. And so the goddesses, Artemis, Hecate, Aphrodite, all of them decide that they are going to birth from parts of themselves their own Amazon tribes. And this is the birth of the Amazon. So in previous stories, it's always just been a group of warrior women that fight in these wars, and they want peace. So Hera creates this island, and, they get this island. But in this, it feels like they are fighting for peace. It's not just being handed to them. They have to work towards it. And I really like that. And we kind of see the foundations, and all these tribes, their characteristics and their designs are based off of their pantheon.
Mm-hmm.
And
each one of them, like, seriously, is their own. Each one of them looks completely different. Like, it's not just like, this one is just like this, but in blue. This one's dressed in this, but in green.
Different shapes and sizes and colors, and it's women that look like women, women like me that I feel like I'm an Amazon for the first time in my life. And, I keep talking about it because I'm imploring everybody to, and I know there were some people that I'm a little hesitant. But we get the origin of Hippolyta, which again in Wonder Woman lore and history feels like she's just this handed queendom. Instead, we're finally seeing that she is this pure, and this is why she deserves to be queen, because she starts off as this midwife, and she's expected to kill a baby because it was born a female, and she starts to, but then she immediately regrets it, and she sets off on this journey that basically kills herself and kills her soul, so that way she can rescue this baby who is alluded to be Wonder Woman, and is alluded to be Diana. And I've always liked the sculpted from clay origin.
Yeah,
I really have. I've always thought it was really interesting. This is Wonder Woman. This is not, it's not even just Wonder Woman. This is the Amazons.
Yeah.
Their history. And it's going to be the definitive Wonder Woman book. It's going to become the definitive Wonder Woman book. And that's really hard for me to say because, listen, Hecate is the Wonder Woman book to read. But it's just, I'm speechless. I am. I was speechless after I read it, and I'm speechless now. And it makes me excited to see what we get going forward from a book like this. What other books it's going to inspire.
Yeah.
And
especially because I know I keep going back to the artwork, but especially after the announcement or the breaking of the news that with George Pérez and the influence that he had on Wonder Woman, like Phil Jimenez basically came out and said, if it wasn't for George Pérez, there would not be Wonder Woman Historia.
And it's true.
Please pick this up.
Because you can see, they took the best parts of, George Pérez's Wonder Woman, and I don't want to say they're modernizing it because this is going to be a timeless book. This is timeless.
Classic.
But I don't know. I can't express enough. Like, if there's one book I need y'all to read, it is fucking Wonder Woman Historia. Like, the weighting, the price. I mean, because it's an $8 book, but it's
Yeah.
worth $8. Like, I would gladly buy 20 more copies of this book. You know, I want this book to be taught in history classes. Like, listen, if there's any teachers in the chat that want to teach graphic novels, I know a lot of people go towards like Watchmen and stuff like that. No. I need you to teach Wonder Woman Historia in your classes 100%. Please. I think my biggest complaint about this, okay, I lied, there's 2 big complaints. And one of them you shared with me was the fact that some of the artwork gets cut off in the gutters. Which makes me sad because it's beautiful. I'm have to wait for issue 2. I want it now. I need it now. So.
One of the things that like, seriously, there's so much thought, and like I said, there's so much research that went into this book. And when Kelly Sue DeConnick was doing Aquaman in 2019, 2020, she did a lot of research, and she was pulling from a lot of these, like, not just historical books, but I remember, like, she posted a stack of books that she was reading, and I think Silent Spring by Rachel Carson was one of them, which that, if you know, kind of like set off this modern environmental movement, really talking about like the climate change and things like that, and how we can study that in science. Like, we can literally study our environment and see the effects that humans are having. So anyways, she posted that, as well as a whole bunch of mythology books, and I thought that it was just going to go into Aquaman, and I can seriously see so much of that going into Wonder Woman Historia. It's fantastic. If we did not sell this book to you, I don't know what you're here for, because
I don't know what else for me. Like,
yeah,
please read for you.
Yeah,
that's a hell of a way to end the show. Really.
Well,
it's just
the only thing I do have this
package, right?
Hold on. I hope that John is still here in the chat, because I feel like John would really appreciate.
I saw him lurking.
Yeah,
I think he's lurking, silently lurking.
I think so too. Because remember how a couple weeks ago I picked up a comic book grab bag?
Yes.
10 issues for $10, and it was a comic book grab bag, and it was like queer. Well, I picked up 2 more, and one of them I'm not going to open because I'm going to send it to you. But I've got one that I will go ahead and open up. But the one I'm going to send to you is This Lady Could Step on Me.
Yes! I love it. Oh my God.
I saw that and I'm like, I have to get that for Mars. So that'll be sent to you.
One of my famous quotes is, I want this person to step on. Oh, you know me so well. I've never been so happy in my life.
Well, the one I got for myself, and the reason why I hope that John is still here is because I know this is one of his favorite characters. But Nick at Books with Pictures went ahead and packed this comic book grab bag, and Storm is in them. And so I know Storm is one of John's favorite characters. I'm going to go ahead and open this up and see what we got. He was very proud.
These are always so exciting. I love these.
Okay. Nick was very proud of this one. When I told him that I would be doing this and showing it on the show, he's like, ooh, I really hope you like it. Okay. So first one here is going to be Fearless, issue number 2. Look there.
That's a gorgeous cover.
That is a gorgeous cover. Oh my goodness. Let me see here. I'm trying to figure out. Trying to figure out who that variant cover is by. Cover artist. Yep. So it is Jenny Frison.
It's gorgeous.
Okay. So there's book number 1. Book number 2 is going to be Age of X-Men Omega. And then look at Storm there. I don't know if you can kind of see it there.
We love her. We love her.
Okay. Love that. Okay. Third one. X-Men Gold. Yep. Ooh. And let me see here, making sure I believe it is, what's his name?
Phil Noto.
Oh, I can't. Yeah, Phil Noto. Yep. Thank you. So, Wedding of Storm. Let's see here. What do we have next? Book number 4.
Ooh.
So this one is X-Men Grand Design by Ed Piskor.
I
always
really
feel
love
weird
those
when I say
grand,
that.
I love those grand design
Same.
books. They're just so cool.
Same. I feel like X-Men Grand Design, you know, we were talking earlier about that like X-Men life story. I feel like X-Men Grand Design is kind of like that X-Men life story. So love that. Love that. Love that. Okay, so number 5. We've got Children of the Atom.
Ooh.
Let me see. Storm. Storm's on right over here. She's kind of hidden, but kind of a in the shadow of our boy Cyclops, who I do not like. But
Ugh, to Cyclops.
Okay, issue number 6. This one feels like a big one. Oh, so this one's a 10 of Swords, and it's Marauders number 3. Got Storm. Okay. Let's see here. Next one, another 10 of Swords, and we've got
I love that cover. It's so gorgeous.
Same. And this was a really good issue too. This is one of my favorite issues in the 10 of Swords run event. Okay. I've got 3 more, so that was 7, and I've got 8. Black Panther. Yep. Issue number 15. So another is it? Trying to figure out. Ryan Benjamin or Daniel Acuna. I'm not really sure who did but there we go. And then book number 9. We've got another Black Panther. Ooh, I love that. Okay. And then last one, issue number 10. Ooh, okay. X-Men issue number 17. Yep. There we go. Storm was on all of those.
Exciting. Very exciting.
So very cool. So I'm excited to send you these ladies could step on me. Like part of me just wants to open it up right now, but I'll send it to you and then you can
I'm gonna have to like I'm gonna have to open that on stream and it's gonna kill me. I hope it gets here on a Saturday so that way I don't have to wait.
Yeah.
Because I know it's just gonna sit in the corner. It's gonna be like, open me, and I'm gonna do my best. I'm gonna do my best not to open it when it arrives. So
yeah, it better not get there on a Monday or Tuesday.
We'll see how well I do.
Well, that's pretty much everything that I have. Like, you know, surprised you earlier on in the show. Tomorrow, you and I are going to get to hang out again. You and I are going to get to go and hang out on John's channel. We're going to be fighting on Comic Gories.
We are. We're going to be fighting.
Yeah.
Put your dukes up. Ready.
Yeah. So that'll be really fun. No matter what, I know that we're just going to have a lot of fun.
It's going to be a good time. I've been trying to plan how I'm going to do my setup because, you know, for those of you that don't know, my comics are out in the hallway in a giant filing cabinet. And if you can't see, I sit right in front of my door. So
yeah,
I'm going to have to figure it out. I'm going to have to change some things up to make it easy access. I've been trying to time myself 30 seconds back and forth.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I'm excited. I'm very excited.
My what am I trying to say? Strategy, I guess, is going to be have everything picked out. I am going to try to just guess what I think the topics are going to be and just have like some extras and to just maybe pick out some of my favorite covers and go from there.
It's going to be either way, it's going to be a blast.
Yeah. Because here's the thing about Comic Gories is that it's so subjective. And it's not just about the cover that you have, but it's about, one, how well organized you are, if that's how you go. But it's also about the cover itself. It's also about, can you sell this cover to the people in the chat who are ultimately voting for you? It could be like maybe not the best one, but can you sell it?
Can you sell it? I'm excited. I'm ridiculously excited. And honestly, there's nobody else that I would want to go up against other than you.
Oh,
But
it'll
I'm
be
still
fun.
gonna beat you.
Yeah, I think that there should be a round where, like, I don't know if we could go, but it'll still be fun. So,
John's listening, but John, tailor the categories to us specifically. Thirsty, give a thirsty one. Thirsty.
I'm
never
planning for that
mind.
anyways. So,
You're planning.
Yeah.
You're always planning. Of course you are.
Yeah. So join us over there on John's Comics with Kids channel, where we'll be tomorrow night, and we will go head to head.
9 o'clock.
But then 9 o'clock, 9 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Pacific.
It's gonna be a fun time.
Yeah. So that's pretty much it. Anything else you got going on?
I'm still slowly recovering.
Yeah.
I had planned a bunch of stuff to put on the channel, and then got sick and was bedridden for about a week and a half. So I'm slowly building up my strength. I'm slowly going to be back. Part of me just wants to say, just let 2021 ride out and come back strong for 2022. So we'll see.
There we go.
See which side of me wins.
Yeah. Well, very excited about 2022 either way. So thank you everyone so much for being here. I hope you have a wonderful Sunday, and go read some good comics.
Go read some comics.
Bye.